but I get that out of the way. My head's clear. If I'm walking at other times in the day, I might be anxious, thinking about stuff. Walking will definitely help connect you to nature and disconnect from that stuff. But
well, I love what you're saying, because you're already, without even trying, taking movement pillar and bringing it mental, physical, emotional, spirit. You're already talking about. So it could be a walking meditation that connects you to nature. That's your spiritual thing. It could be you were angry or you were sad and your emotions were running, so you took a walk and you felt better. You just said mental clarity, or at least contemplation.
Yeah.
And then obviously physically walking is moving lymph. You're moving your leg muscles, blah, blah, blah. So that is how one pillar just blew up all 4 layers of health and fitness.
Boom.
And we didn't even fucking
one
write
block
that down.
of one pillar, right? So
Boom. One, right. So this shit is all connected. And it goes deep.
You know?
The Bridge Podcast. Sean Nixon here.
John Matthew.
How the heck? I never say heck. How are you feeling today?
What in the gosh darn are you feeling
Gee,
right now?
golly wilkers, they told me to stop cursing so much and I went a heck on you. How the fuck are you doing, man?
Dude, I'm groovy, man. I'm feeling fine.
So, we got the layers that are all within you. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. We've broken them down. We've expanded on them all to get to this point where the pillars, the things you can do to affect the layers of fitness and health, we're blocking them down. Each pillar is made up of 4 blocks that are literally your action steps. This is why you've tuned in the whole time, to see how you're going to be able to plan everything out and literally what to do, the what's and hows, finally. Movement is our first one. They're all equally important, so this is no particular order.
Yeah, movement's just a really good one for one, just to actually tangibly feel.
Start with. Right, okay, so maybe it is a good one to start with because you're moving all day, or at least you should be.
You should be, yeah.
That's why our first point, and we'll run through them real quick and then we'll dive deeper. Daily activity and your movement throughout the day. Yang-based movement, forceful energy. Yin-based movement, working in energy. And play.
Play. Good old play.
Good old play. And that could be a sport. That could be playing with your kids. That could be playing with a friend. That could be doing anything. And we'll dive deeper. So your daily activity, first and foremost, is walking a certain amount of steps. Is there, you got a magic number for that? 10,000?
The arbitrary 10,000,
Okay.
which who knows how accurate any of this is to tracking that, because I could just be on
Yeah,
a
it's a little
bike.
silly, sure.
But if it gives someone an actual tangible thing to actually get towards.
I like it.
which is
Yeah,
good for
yeah. Some people like
data.
numbers, some people like data, some people like goals. So that's good. So let's say approximately 10,000 steps, which if you have an active job is no freaking problem whatsoever. Now I did heck and frickin' in the same fucking podcast. Jesus Christ.
This is rated G.
Yeah.
Please bring your kids.
So if you have an active job, 10,000 steps is no problem. But you're going to need to go for some walks throughout the day if you have a slave job, I mean a computer job in a cubicle or in an office.
Yeah, and that's like, so you could theoretically wake up in the morning, go for get your 10,000 steps all cranked out in one day. But breaking it up in short chunks is not just going to be good for you movement-wise physically. I think we talked about, I don't know if we talked on the podcast, but I liked using the Pomodoro technique or the 25 and 5, or even
break both of those
30
down.
and 10, we'll talk about that. But getting up and getting away from your work for 10 minutes makes you more productive when you come back. So use that time to go walk, especially if you're in an office building where it looks like gray walls, fluorescent lighting. Even if it's cold as shit out, but prepare yourself to go outside.
Yeah, I like 10-minute walks. So if you don't have a dog or some type of pet that you're walking, schedule maybe after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, or when you first get up, a midday break and a before bed, just 10-minute walk, and that adds up to at least 30.
I like getting a lot of stuff done in the morning, just because I'm a morning person. So
a longer one in the morning, and then just whatever happens throughout the day. If you have time for a second one, but if you don't, you already got it done.
Because in the morning, at least the best part about the morning walks for me, even if it's even if you're not a morning person, but just even the walk to your car, or just like the walk to work.
Get you going.
Or instead, maybe if you have an opportunity to walk or bike or be outside to commute instead of being stuck in a car. Not everybody does have that luxury opportunity, but I get that out of the way. My head's clear if I'm walking. At other times in the day, I might be anxious, thinking about stuff. Walking will definitely help connect you to nature and disconnect from that stuff. But
well, I love what you're saying because you're already, without even trying, taking movement pillar and bringing it mental, physical, emotional, spirit. You're already talking about. So it could be a walking meditation that connects you to nature. That's your spiritual thing. It could be you were angry or you were sad and your emotions were running, so you took a walk and you felt better. You just said mental clarity or at least contemplation.
Yeah.
And then obviously physically walking is moving lymph. You're moving your leg muscles. Blah blah blah. So that is how one pillar just blew up all 4 layers of health and fitness.
Boom.
And we didn't even fucking
one
write
block
that
of
down.
one pillar, right? So
Boom. One. Right. So this shit is all connected. And it goes deep.
You don't say.
And then if you do have a pet, a dog, let's say, don't just throw them out in the back and let them piss and throw them back in the house. Take them for a walk. It's beneficial for you and them.
Dog loves
he
it.
or she. Okay. Can you please break down, because you've educated me, but not the audience, on the Pomodoro technique?
Yeah, Pomodoro technique. The origin, some guy named Pomodoro created. You can go look up the history of it, but the main essential point is it's a practice of organizing your time, specifically during a task. So say I have to go study for an exam, right? So I got a cram. I dedicate 4 hours to studying this exam. I could sit there and try to study for 4 hours straight, but all of you know, and I know, and you know, how much
Unproductive and unsustainable
'cause
that is?
You maybe sit down here for 4 and you have the intention, but maybe like an hour and a half of that, maybe even more, is like dawdling around or just unconsciously going to your trigger sites, so your Facebook, for me, Bleacher Report's my trigger. 'Cause I just
Really? You go for sports?
Yeah.
A lot of people are going
It's
for
just a trigger.
porn and social media.
That's true. Those are big ones.
Or social media as the gateway to porn, because you see some butt shots, boob shots.
And then you're just like,
or
ah.
you see cupcakes and steaks and sandwiches and you go to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So you're just feeding hedonistic
Triggers.
distractions and triggers, yeah.
Basically, so you're sitting down for work for 25 minutes, and then after 25 minutes is up, you set a timer for 5 minutes. You give yourself a 5-minute break. During that 5-minute break, you remove yourself from any of your work. You get up, walk around, take a stretch break, get some water, go for a little brief look outside, then come back, do another 25, another 5-minute break. Do the same thing, get up, walk away. Next one, you do a 25-minute break, maybe take a 25-minute work, and then 10-minute break this time, so a longer break or even as much as you want. But what that will do is there's studies and research that have been done that cognitive performance declines right around that 20 to 30-minute mark. So you can either try soldiering through that as your performance declines, and the more is more.
They have diminishing returns.
Yeah, the more is more things is kicking in. But as someone who has to switch, I've experienced the benefits of it dramatically, just getting up.
60 minutes of shitty work versus 50 minutes of good work.
Yeah,
What's
just
more
by
efficient?
just by little breaks.
Right.
Yeah.
Love
So you
that.
think it's like, I'm doing more because I'm staying here.
No.
It's like, no. I just
25 and 5.
Yeah, and that's just, you see that parallel in other things like high frequency in terms of workouts or in terms of skill-based exercises.
Work to rest ratios.
Yeah, frequency is key in developing skill-based movements, right? So because the more you practice something, but you got to keep that volume low, so you're giving your best, most concrete effort each time, right?
Love it. Because if you're just patterning bad shit, your nervous system
Exactly.
remembers bad
It's like
form.
when people first start powerlifting,
And they never want to rest.
they never want to rest.
And I got to chat for 3 to 5 minutes to trick them into resting, because they're used to doing jumping jacks and fucking body
or
pump
like,
class.
yeah, I bench
where
press,
there's no rest.
max set. All right, let's put the other ones and go back on it like that.
Immediately. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't do it.
So you're doing Pomodoro during workouts too, interval time, which that's a whole other thing we'll get to.
Yeah, so that's
It's
the
really
thing. Like
important.
if you go, just to bring it into lifting for a second, if you do as many reps as you possibly can for an exercise, it takes approximately 5 minutes to be able to do that again for the nervous system to recalibrate.
Yeah, it's a
and
nervous
everything
system
else.
thing. More than
Right.
anything. So nervous system is.
You don't want
for
to fully
yeah.
rest. You go 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Less for muscle building and endurance, more for strength.
Yeah, and I'll say, and because strength is a skill you develop, right?
But that's what's getting stale too when you're working, is the nervous system.
Yeah,
Your,
exactly.
your focus and whatnot. So 25 and 5 Pomodoro. You got another technique you like for work to rest ratios and tips throughout the day?
Depending on what the task, for daily activity specifically,
Yeah.
since we're on that, I always have like 3 big blocks of time. I think we talked about time blocking in one of the other ones
Yes,
that I like doing before. But I'll block out. So I'll do that whenever I have my actual work. So 5 minutes is not that much to get around and do something. It's just a little break, which is what it's meant to be, to detach so you can reattach with more focus. But I'll block off like half an hour, 3 different times during the day to just
Full rest.
move.
The 5 minutes is a piss break, a stretch break,
exactly.
a walk in a circle to
like
take
a
a
30
deep breath.
minute to go outside.
Full 30-minute is either lunch or a full walk.
Exactly,
or
yeah.
doing something.
That's also a good way to break. If you don't get formal breaks at work, it's a good way to break within your work, so you're not stealing company time.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I used to do structured like construction or warehouse jobs,
Yeah.
there was 15-minute cigarette/coffee break,
Yeah.
and then 30-minute lunch, and then an afternoon
Is that
cigarette
so? I was
coffee
looking
break.
that up too. Is that like a legal thing? Like you have to
Certain
give someone
amount
a
of
cigarette
hours.
breaks?
Yeah, certain amount of hours you need a 15-minute break, and certain amount of hours you need a
Okay.
lunch break.
But people who
for
smoke
different states.
People who smoke cigarettes are like have
I think
the right to have
Yes.
extra breaks for cigarettes.
No, that's the thing. It's got to be for
okay.
everybody. That's why I think they're calling them coffee breaks now.
Gotcha. Because
But that's the thing.
that was that's what I thought, because I think a lot of other people thought that too. Is like you get smoke breaks. There's like specific breaks just for smokers. Like,
Well,
what the
because
fuck's
when
up
they
with
made
that?
those laws, everybody smoked.
Everybody was smoking. Yeah.
And your doctor was telling you when you're pregnant, smoke Camels.
Yeah.
Seriously. And you're
He's
listening to the same government.
Get ready to deliver the baby and just puff and smoke right in there.
That's real. They used to do that.
Yeah.
And they used to tell you it was good for you. My doctor recommends Camels. And this is the same big pharma and big government that you're listening to today about viruses.
Super
and
side
bullshit.
tangent. You ever seen the show Mad Men?
No, but I get it. Everybody smoked, if that's your point.
No, that's about marketing, but they talk about smoking as marketing. Of
course.
They find out. I'm going to spoil. You're not going to watch it. You're going to watch it.
Nah, I got no time.
Yeah, it's okay. Spoiler alert. Turn it down anyway. It's a good show. It's at AMC. But marketing firm way back in the 50s, 60s, 60s, 50s.
50s, I think. I think
But
I saw
the
one
first
episode.
report of smoking becoming bad for you comes out.
They squashed it.
And they squash it and they
course.
flip it to sell it. Yeah.
Yep. Same thing going on today with other things.
With everything.
Think for yourself, question everything. With everything. With everything. Fucking sugar, fucking masks, all this shit.
Yeah.
Anything comes out on one side that doesn't fit the mainstream narrative, they squash it. Anyway, daily activity. So you're getting your walks in, you're taking your 5-minute
And I'll
breaks.
say, because of daily activity, that's in counter opposite. Like, this is technically part of my daily activity, is sitting at this desk and doing this. That's
Yes.
active work.
but there's no movement.
Exactly. So the movement part is I'm actually tightening up certain things here. So
Love it.
I definitely, for me, I speaking from firsthand experience, flexibility breaks, little stretch breaks,
Awesome.
massive.
And that doesn't take that. You could do on a call, on a Zoom,
Yeah.
on a whatever. You don't have to sit hunched over like my dog taking a shit on the front lawn in the fucking keyboard.
There you go.
You could be up and stretching while you're on your stupid Zoom thing.
Yeah.
I say stupid, that's judgment, but you'll forgive me. So I forgive myself. So, and then daily activity also, is there other daily activity other than walking and steps that you would get in? Like I said, it's kind of takes care of itself if you have a physical job.
Yeah.
But anything, doing the laundry, carrying stuff
just
in the
physical
backyard. Okay, so
labor-ish
then
stuff.
physical labor
Taking
stuff.
care
So
of
then
the watering the
gardening,
plants.
right. So then gardening and yard work and all that.
Yeah.
We're not counting that as exercise. We're not counting it as calories burned, but it's good for you because it's movement. That's
And
what we'll try to
which we'll
say.
get onto a different column before, but getting out of nature, especially if you're doing gardening work or yard work,
Huge.
huge.
Hands in the soil and everything else.
Getting up in
Don't
there,
be afraid
nice
of
and
germs.
black.
Most of them are good. Some of them are not. All of them are not to be feared. So then we get into our structured, planned out, scheduled exercise.
Yeah, formal exercise.
Formal exercise, thank you. Yang, meaning working out energy or more fire or masculine,
Yeah.
moving stuff, higher intensity, let's say.
Yeah.
That would be your super long distance cardio. That would be your high intensity cardio. That would be your lifting weights.
Maybe CrossFit,
Crossfittery
stuff.
stuff.
Fall in there.
Crossfitians, like circuits and whatnot. So yeah, your
Anything
lifting
that's-
weights, your circuit training, high intensity cardio,
Anything
long distance
where
cardio.
like a fast beats per minute would amplify the experience.
Heart rate elevated.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So yin, for those who aren't familiar with yin, people have heard yin and yang, but
Sympathetic nervous system.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, break it down. Yin versus yang. That's the Taoist symbol, the peace sign. But people think peace sign, but really it's opposites in balance with each other. The whole point of the yin and the yang. So yang, you said the masculine energy.
Masculine, fire, heavy, working out energy.
Yep.
Light. So then yin is dark, softer, feminine, working in energy.
We'll cover, yeah. So yang-based stuff. Top 3 favorite yang-based movements for formal exercise.
Specific movements? Like you want to say
like
squat?
Forms of.
Oh, yeah. So, right. So, heavy resistance training, lighter weight, higher rep resistance training, and then high intensity interval
cardio,
sprint cardio stuff. Those would be my 3.
Those are 3.
But some people would say Pilates, long distance jogging, and CrossFit. And that would be fine too, because they're all yang and you're working out energy. You're sweating, you're moving lymph, you're burning calories, you're potentially building muscle or anaerobic capacity. Building endurance, building strength, building muscle, burning calories.
Yeah, this is all the categorization of these two is just an energy. What kind of energy you're putting into it?
Exactly.
You're exuding out tons of energy. This one, like you said,
yin is going to pull in energy like your yogas and your meditations and stuff. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, those would be my personal favorites. Would be heavy lifting with heavier loads or weights, and resistance. Lighter weights, higher repetitions that serve different benefits, whatever, and then a high intensity cardio. And like I said, nothing wrong with long, steady state duration cardio, circuit stuff, and then modalities don't matter. Whether you're talking cable, dumbbell, kettlebell, barbell, we're just talking resistance.
Yeah, resistance.
And then same thing with cardio. I'm separating long distance jogs from sprints and intervals.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like the idea of what the jog is.
No,
you're
it's
running
terrible.
or you're walking. You can run. This is me being critical of people running, but
Glad you and not me.
Yeah, jogging is right. Jogging is just, in my mind, what the idea people have of jogging is just bad, poor running form. Because you're either running or you're walking. And you say, well, what about long distance? Like I've seen the guys who run marathons. They're running.
They're running.
They're not jogging. The plod.
I think it's a soft J. I believe it's yogging. Yogging.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do the long-based, I'm not anti-long distance either. I don't do a ton myself, but there's a right way to do it. It's more difficult and technical than you think. Everyone thinks you can just run, just like people think you can just walk, but everybody walks like shit. So.
People can't even sit.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, I have a body, so I must know how to use it correctly. And it's like, nah.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're
teaching you how to use your mind and body. You're in control of this vehicle.
Yeah, if no one told you how to use it, right?
This is a fancy monkey suit.
Fancy monkey suit.
And people are like, oh, nice suit. And you're like,
yeah, you can't expect to sit at a job 8 hours, not doing any daily activity, not doing any formal yang, and then go out and just go run a bunch and expect not to get injured
or lift weights or anything.
Yeah.
You're 1 hour in the gym, you're 1 hour of exercise, and then 23 hours of fucking sitting and laying on your back. That's not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
So daily activity. Just to back up real quick, are we putting biking, swimming, and like chilling in daily activity, or are we putting that in yang-based activities?
Depends on the energy, right?
Depends on the energy and the goal. I love that. So if you're just going for a bike ride for funsies, that could be play or activity. But if you're biking sprints or for a sport,
if you're
that's yang-based.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, it's a good point. So the same thing can be different modality based upon energy expenditure.
Yeah.
Love it. So we're good on yang?
Yeah, yang, if you get the point, it's pretty...
Yeah, working out energy. Your cardio and your weights, essentially.
We've got our yin, the balance to that.
Working in energy. So your active recovery, your stretching, your mobility work, your yoga, potentially Pilates, moving meditations, because some meditations are full restorative, and that'll be a different column, that'll be a different pillar, where you're pulling in energy for sure. But yeah, yin, mobility work, foam rolling, laying on a lacrosse ball, mobility bands, holding stretching positions.
So you mentioned yoga. Yoga can actually be in both yang and yin, depending on the type.
Depending on what you're doing.
Depending on what you're doing. Because it's all about energy. You can do a yin yoga class where you're holding a posture for 5 to 7 minutes, right? Which is very yin because you're just letting gravity and time do the work.
Positions.
Or you can do, a power flow where you're, doing a vinyasa and then right into a fucking arm balance and something like that, which is very different feeling.
Still yoga, different energy. Love it. Love it.
But you'll know the difference. If you have a question like, is this the yin or yang? Do it. How do you feel? And you'll be able to figure it out.
So point being with all of these is you need to, and we'll get to play in a moment, but you need to schedule in all this shit. So schedule in your 3 10-minute walks or your 1 30-minute walk. Schedule in your day and your week when you're going to lift weights, when you're going to do cardio. Schedule in when you're going to stretch, go to yoga class. the game is on, the movie is on, but you're on the floor on a lacrosse ball or a foam roller and just moving stuff around. Schedule this shit in, because we all know that it's healthy, but we're never going to do it if we don't schedule
if it's not already a pattern, that means we're building a new pattern. So if we're not actively scheduling it, we're going to go to our default. And our default, if it's not this, it's going to be the exact opposite, laying on the couch, hunching over.
You default to your old bullshit.
And scheduling is just self-accountability, right? You're keeping an appointment with myself. I have an appointment with myself at
Don't let yourself
11
down.
a.m. to go for walks. So that's
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, literally schedule it in like everything else. You don't get to create your life. You get to create your habits, and your habits create your life.
Whoa.
Boom. So what else we got for yin? Like I said, just simple stretching.
And I would even throw like a restorative. This is where I would throw maybe like a light walk. And there's maybe some overlap here, right? But
Sure.
a daily activity could be walking for 30 minutes. That could also be a yin, theoretically a yin movement.
Of course.
Same thing with swimming too.
Because let's say you just did sprints or you did your CrossFitian WOD. You're going to walk a little bit after as a cool down.
Yep.
So you had your yang, you have your yin to balance it. That's literally what a warm up, and then you go and then cool down. It's yin and yang right
Yeah, and you could theoretically, if you love swimming, you could just do like a regular just morning swim, just relax, kind of loosen up. You could do fucking swim sprints, and then you could do another restorative yin. So you have all three just in the water.
And then later you bring your kid and you fucking play in the water.
chuck him in the water.
And that's 4 types of swimming.
boom, boom, boom.
And,
It's
you've
all about
scheduled
energy,
them all, and it's all about energy. So, and speaking of energy, yang is sympathetic nervous system, which is fight and flight and go, go,
So
go.
I'm fucking ready to
Pumped
go.
up.
Yeah.
Yin is parasympathetic nervous system, rest, digest, relaxation, restorative. Love it. So play is more than you just think, because you're like, I'm not a child anymore.
I'm a
I
man.
am a man and a woman. I don't
I
play
reached this
around.
arbitrary age, and now I have responsibilities, which means I'm a man.
Your responsibility is to take care of your monkey suit and
Whoa.
take care of your health, because the government or anybody else isn't going to help you.
This is true.
So play, sure. If you're in a professional sport or an amateur sport or an organized sport, that's your play. You're great. Back in my day,
Back in my day.
you weren't 4 years old.
Grandpappy Nixon.
Grandpappy Nixon didn't hand me a fucking iPad when I was 4 years old.
is true.
He said, go out in the woods and play. And we would make stick forts and dirt forts and
asbestos
throw
running
rocks and
outside.
shit, climb up trees, run around,
Dude,
play
when I was
tag.
like 3 with my neighbor, we would just literally go out in the backyard and just roll down a hill for like
Yes.
20 minutes straight.
Glorious.
It's the best thing.
Glorious.
Just
Now
rolling
they're
down
like,
a hill.
there's germs out there. Make sure you wear your mask and drink your hand sanitizer. Or not even that. They don't even let them out. They just keep them stuck on the computer.
Yeah.
You're going to do better on the computer if you go out and play for an hour or whatever.
All work and no play.
Makes Johnny a dull boy.
No, well now it makes Johnny fucking anxious and depressed.
Oh, that's literally what it is.
That's
though.
literally what it means.
And then they're like, my kids can't sit still in class, so I throw,
So I force him to sit still more.
force them to sit still more, and then throw Ritalin and Adderall at them.
Hey Johnny, open the mouth. Whoosh.
Instead, he's a baby monkey, and he's a puppy, and he needs to play once in a while and
Yeah,
get
do
that
you
energy
force
out.
your puppy to just stare at a screen and sit still?
Some people
do
do
though.
They
yeah.
throw them in a cage and
Yeah.
shit. Like, what are we doing here, guys?
It's a challenge.
Just because you're lazy. Anyway, don't ruin the children's lives. Don't ruin the puppies' lives. But play, just because you're an adult, doesn't mean you can't go outside and throw the ball. Doesn't mean you can't play with a kid. Doesn't mean you can't play with a dog. Like, literally.
Yeah, it
if
doesn't
you-
even have to be the formal idea of like structured sport. Like you could be
Play
just
is
going to the rock
literally-
climbing gym and you and your buddies are just rock climbing. You're going out paintballing. That's fucking fun as
Perfect.
shit. You know, like that's all play.
Whitewater rafting,
Kayaking down the
canoeing,
canoe.
kayaking, bike riding, any of that shit is play. Listen,
It's a movement that feels fun.
joking
and good.
around with your buddies, flirting with somebody. This is play.
Yeah.
We're chimpanzees with pants on. We need to do
Yeah.
play type of activities.
Feels
Banter.
good. Play
feels good
play
to
feels
move
good.
around and play.
You're not too old to play.
You're
If-
never
if
too
you're
old to play.
If you
I've-
are, if you think you're too old to play, you're too young to understand the value of play, right? Like that's-
Perfect. That's perfect. But like people that go golfing and shit like that, they're not calling that sports and they're not calling that exercise.
Well, some people might. For some people, it's a yang-based movement. God fucking damn.
That's fine. But either way,
Yeah.
it's play, and it doesn't have to be fierce competition. It doesn't have to be keeping score. It doesn't have to be.
So that reminds me, I'm a shout out to Brene Brown. But in one of her audiobooks, she talks about, she's big known for vulnerability, but she has one section she talks about play and the difference between contest and competition.
Nice.
And so we're a very competition-based world, and
Sure.
it can destroy some people because it makes people hyper-obsessive.
People
makes
say
people-
it's inherently bad.
it
That
makes
she's making
people
the
inferior.
distinction.
Well, she's making a distinction. And content, the difference is, And she makes a really great example. If you just look at a fucking pack of animals or bears,
There's always
bear
competition.
cubs. No, well, bear cubs, they'll fight each other, but the one who's winning will let the other one back up to play. 'Cause it's just play for the sake of
Just
play.
play for the sake of play.
Play for the sake of play, not to win. That's the whole point, right?
Right.
You get obsessed with winning, which is domination over somebody else. I'm best. I'm the one. I'm ego. Right.
So
now.
what were the words that she made the distinction of?
Contest versus competition.
So a contest is just play without keeping score and a winner and a
Yeah,
loser.
plays for the sake of play. Competition
Play for the
is
sake of
there's
play.
a winner involved.
And
right?
that's great.
That's
and I
right.
think
There's
both of those
different.
things are good. It's not the patriarchy and competition is ruining the world.
No,
or
they have their place, but there's
they
a
have their
distinction.
place, and there's a
So
distinction.
let's not confuse. And they're both both necessary.
Not
but-
even good or bad.
Yeah,
even.
but they're both
they're separate.
distinct things. And you can do both and enjoy them both.
You can and you should.
Yeah.
You can and you should. Play for the sake of play. LeBron is playing with his kid in the pool,
Yeah.
and he's also playing for the NBA Finals.
That's true.
It's two separate things. Okay. And even, you go to fucking Dave and Buster's and you're shooting the basketball thing and you get out of breath a little bit and
Yeah.
whatever. That's play. You're
play.
having fun. You're moving your body without even thinking you're moving body. Dance. You take a
Dance.
fucking dance class or something like that. You're not calling that exercise. That's play.
Unless it's jazz
Not
exercise.
even class. Right.
Just go in the fucking club.
Zumba or something. Right, just going to the club, which is illegal, by the way, now because the fucking government or whatever. But back in my day,
Back in my day.
you would go out and
Pre-2020.
sweat your ass off on the dance floor with strangers.
Oh yeah.
It was fucking phenomenal.
Playing's good, man.
Play is important.
And that could be include like again, like I said, like hobbies. So like that's your golf, that's your rock climbing. Get into cool shit. Get in cool shit.
Yeah.
Go learn how to do a
Rock
fucking
climbing,
backflip somewhere.
hiking,
Go to a gymnast place.
all
do
that
stuff.
shit.
Oh, I've come to this point. Fucking like jujitsu or kickboxing, martial arts.
Martial arts. How are we
That
not
fucking
talking
hits.
about this?
That can hit like
All
all
four.
four. You wake up in the morning, you do your fucking katas you gotta do, and then you go to class and you're sparring, but then you go and do your mobility, stretching afterwards, the meditative aspect.
And then you have competition and
Contest.
contest with play. Because that's the perfect example, like you said. If you're in a fight to the death and you know jujitsu, you kill a motherfucker. If you're in contest with a friend, they tap
If
out.
I'm rolling and a guy gets my arm, even if I can maybe fight out of it.
He goes,
you
I'm
got
about to
it.
break it, and you tap out,
he's
and you
not
shake
gonna break.
hands after,
Yeah,
and you
we're good.
smile.
Yeah.
You're like, you could have killed me right there.
Yeah. but you did.
But you didn't.
Because we're homies.
Because we're homies, and we're going to go again, and that's how we learn and get better. And then he says, I set you up with this and this.
And that's a
how.
fucking, if you've never done a martial art like that, and one of the reasons why people fall in love with jiu-jitsu so quickly, it's because well, there's an exhilaration. There's a lot of things, right?
It's all for
You can defend yourself, so it gives you some sort of, gives you a lot of confidence to be able to do that. But it's also, wow, I've experienced a situation now that is extreme adversity, but I'm able to,
survive it.
I'm
and get better.
able to learn in a really adverse environment.
Physical chess.
Because, I mean, no offense to any other sport, but someone coming at you hard, hitting you, potentially torquing your limbs, that's intense shit. But if you can do that, get in that space, and it's okay, and that guy's trying to help you, you're trying to help them.
Well, every other
pretty
sport,
powerful.
they're playing, and if they get angry, a fight breaks out.
But in
This is fighting.
Fighting, there's no...
We're skipping the ball stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going right to... Beautiful. Which is everything, that's what... same thing back in the day. There was war, but there was also play and sparring and whatever,
Yeah.
where there was
There's fighting
contest
and
instead of
there's-
competition.
yeah.
I love it. So daily activity, and so here's the real take home is now that you've had the modalities and pillars separated, daily schedule. So then this is where you take your phone, your computer, your iPad, your notebook, paper, and you schedule out your day and your week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to see John for yoga class. Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to see Sean to lift weights. Saturday, I'm going running on my own. Sunday, I'm taking the dog to the park and we're going to jog together. And every morning, I'm doing my stretching. So now you just planned out your day and your week of activity / movement, daily activity and walking, I mean. Yang, meaning your 3 lift and weight sessions
Yep.
with the trainer. Your yin, which is your 2 or 3 yoga classes with the instructor. And your play, which is playing ball with your kid and running in the park with your dog.
Yeah, and to touch on that too, we didn't even mention...
Happy, healthy, whole, fit, and healthy.
Yeah, we didn't even mention if you have one of the 4 specific goals, but movements, all this works if you're trying to be healthy, all this works for performance, all this works for body composition.
Surprise, surprise.
It's really just about getting a balanced set of movement, and we talked about it being energy, so you get your yang and your yin, but also something fun, but then also something disciplined. So you're touching on
So I
all
was
the
gonna say
different parts of
balance
yourself.
and then sustainability.
Yeah.
Because like you said, fun and planned out.
Exactly, right? So eventually this calm is just going to be rock solid because it's just part of who we are. It's just the movement is part of who we are as
I love that.
biological organisms, but we've gotten so out of touch with that because of modern technology, but it doesn't have to be that way.
That's the
I can
thing.
still do some awesome things. I love fucking Adobe programs. They're so
Yeah.
advanced in computer, but I fucking love fucking trees and going outside to the fucking lake over there. It's
beautiful.
But it's dope, and I can do both.
When you hug a tree, you're hugging yourself.
Balance. Whoa.
Or a version of yourself. So this is what we were saying. We're here to teach you the things they don't teach you in school. They don't teach you how to cook, how to meditate, how to stretch, how to move, or whatever. Sure, there's gym class, but that's been bastardized and screwed over a
poor
million
gym class.
times.
Yeah.
And then there's after-school extracurricular activities in sports, which is not for everyone, and that's fine
And
too.
then there's a lot of competition placed on that, and kids now shy away from playing sports because of that. Now
Because
we're
of that.
declining kids playing sports and because of crazy parents, crazy coaches, crazy ideas and structures of expectations. It doesn't have to be that way, right?
Doesn't have to be that way. So we're here to teach you to structure your life. We're not saying take away the computer. We're not saying quit your job. We're not saying anything. We're not saying school is bad. We're saying they don't teach you how to take care of this mammalian body, mind and spirit and emotions and everything else. And we're here to tell you, if you don't plan out your week, you're going to fail.
Yeah,
And we don't want you to
it's
fail.
It's all. Even if you have a goal and you're like, well, how is daily walking going to help me get to my lose 30, 40 pounds?
Oh,
well,
it
for one,
is.
definitely will. But it's all about moving for the sake of taking care of your body, right? So the goals are one thing that's separate, but before that, the baseline standard, how are we just treating our body? This is what we got, right?
Prerequisite to be a Homo sapien.
Yeah.
I love it. And then I like what you said also, it transcends any goal you have. That's why the layers and the pillars are the shit. Because, boom, finally got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the layers and the pillars are great because no matter what your goal, if your goal is only health, I don't care about sports, I don't care about how I look. Movement. Okay, what kind of movement? This kind of movement.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about health. I only want to be the best football player ever. What do I got to do?
Movement.
Boom. Movement.
All
What
for-
kind of movement?
Oh.
This kind of movement.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it touches every
Or,
single thing.
I don't care about sports performance. I don't care about health. I just want to be as lean and as jacked and tan as I possibly can be. What do I got to do? Movement. What kind of movement? These four movements. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every person, every goal, and every, like I said, fitness, wellness, and performance all falls into these categories. It's comprehensive. And it's things that they're not going to teach you in school.
Yeah, and if you're again, like you said, like hyper focused on one aspect of one small thing, you'll
covers
always
everything.
and you'll always improve at a greater rate by being balanced, right? Like you could be like I could get a fucking A+ in one class, but then not pay attention to any other class, and I still end up with
No good.
a fucking or
No good.
I can give them all equal attention, get the benefits mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally for each of them, which will in turn, people love direct feedback because we're like I need this kind of now world. So people are obsessed mostly with yang based movements because it gives them direct feedback, right? Because like I fucking do a hard, Orange Theory class, or and I can feel it, like my heart's pumping, tangible, right? So it feels like I did work, and people still the conception that they lost the weight in the workout, or they lost, the recovery happened in the workout. But the daily activity, the play, sometimes the yin especially can feel like it's not happening. Well, where's my results? Like I'm not feeling it's not happening. But it's all underlying. It's all happening in the background. Like your computer runs, you can do a program, but there's like a bazillion different things happening in the background that are just daily active things it does, because that's just part of what it is. Same thing
So
with
good.
you. Same thing with you.
The yang and the workout, you're working out energy and you're digging a hole. And the yin, you fill it back in so you can dig again tomorrow. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Working out energy, working in energy. Love what you said, balance and sustainability. So it covers all your bases and it's fun enough and not so imbalanced that it's sustainable.
Because
and
if you
continue.
go any one of these things besides maybe daily activity that's just overly one, you're going to be missing. You could probably go overboard in yin and not feel a detriment.
Oh, we've all seen the fucking yoga lady that's too flexible, and she
Hypermobile.
gets hypermobile, and she
Yeah.
gets injured all the time because she doesn't do any resistance training.
Yep.
And we've seen the gym bro that's stuck
Can't
because
lift
he
his
does
arm up.
only lifting weights,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And
what
the
I'm
person who's playing for competition is missing out on doing all these things because these are both help improve performance.
100%.
And
And I love what you were saying. Like with any goal, it covers anything.
yeah, so this is just a base foundation for
We're not leaving out
movement,
anybody.
for health. So we just broke it down in little bite-sized chunks.
And those are action steps. Because
I would start
at this
with the daily
point,
activity.
right? That's what I was gonna say. So at this point, this is what you do. You schedule out your walks. If you have an active job, you're already moving, so you're pretty much covered here. So schedule out your walks if you're chained to a computer all day. Get yourself a personal trainer or a coach, or figure out how to lift some weights and schedule that shit out. Okay? Schedule in your periods of time. If you're not going to pay somebody to stretch you or go to a yoga class, which you probably should, but if not, schedule in when you're going to foam roll, stretch, do mobility work with rubber bands, and etc. and movements. Okay? Then also, even if this is only once a week and not daily, some type of play. Should be daily on a microcosm, on like a little level of having fun type of play, but movement play at least once or twice a week, and schedule it in. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
It's all preparation.
Don't mess it up.
Prepare yourself to be the best version of yourself. That's all you're doing. You
That's why
can't
we're
make
here.
yourself be the best version of yourself. It'll just happen, right? And it only happens when
You plan and execute. You stick to the basics, and you know the layers, and you know the pillars.
Keep it simple.
And we're back with, what do you want to do on the next one?
what we got.
What's the next pillar?
Consumption.
Movement and then consumption. So that's going to be everything you're taking in, not just nutrition and water, but the energy of all the people around you and
Consuming
the
a lot of
media
stuff right now.
that are the media you're consuming right now. And we'll see you next time on The Bridge.
Das Bridge.
Peace.